And now, a Fox 43 News special report.
We are Penn State, and you're Penn State, and God bless you. Thanks for coming out, and let's be number one, not only this year, but forever.
He inspired generations. Joe Paterno, more than a football coach, a mentor to many. The 85-year-old passing away after a short battle with lung cancer. News of his death hitting students on campus hard. Many gather at Paterno's bronze statue to say goodbye.
He's a legend. There will never be another one like him.
Joe Paterno, a legend both on the football field and off. He passed away at Mount Nittany Medical Center just after 9 o'clock this morning.
And Joe Pa was surrounded by his family, his wife, and his sons. The Paterno is releasing a statement after his death. In part, that statement reads, "He died as he lived. He fought hard until the end, stayed positive, thought only of others, and constantly reminded everyone of how blessed his life had been." The loss being felt by Penn State fans, alumni, players, and students alike. Joe Paterno is certainly a household name.
Absolutely. We have live team coverage from State College tonight. Fox 43's Todd Sadowski now joins us now. Todd, a sad day certainly in Happy Valley.
Yeah, I'm standing about 30 yards away from the bronze statue that immortalizes Penn State head football coaching legend Joe Paterno, just outside of Beaver Stadium. Of course, the news of his death did not come as a surprise. Coach Paterno was admitted to Mount Nittany Medical Center on January 13th, but health complications arose yesterday, and his condition deteriorated rapidly. He called for friends and family to join him last night for one final goodbye, and he passed away this morning at 9:25 a.m. The hospital officially declaring cause of death metastatic small cell carcinoma of the lung. He was surrounded by his family at the time of his death. His son and former Penn State coach Jay Paterno expressed deep gratitude to the hospital staff, said they got them through the past few difficult days. The entire family has said how much they appreciate the thoughts and prayers for their family. The morning begins for a man that is a once-in-a-lifetime figure. Whether or not you feel the recent scandal tarnishes his legacy, there is no denying the impact that he has had on countless lives, and that's something his father, Angelo, insisted he do when he passed on a career in law, make an impact. Susquehannock's Chaz Powell said there's a party going on in heaven right now that the greatest coach ever is there. Manheim Central's Graham Zug tweeted that Joe Paterno is Penn State. Penn State is Joe Paterno. You will never be able to separate the two. Many people also mentioning the similarities in the death of another college football coaching icon, Bear Bryant of Alabama. Bryant coached his final game in December of 1982, died January 26th of 1983. Coach Paterno died on January 22nd, just a few months from his final game. Now, Joe Paterno was born in 1926, so in 1950 he came to State College, and it's a small town now, so try and imagine what it was like at that time. He dedicated 60-plus years to the area, winning a record 409 games as the head coach. Today may be a sad day, but as Coach Paterno reiterated time and time again, he lived a blessed life, and no one celebrated more major college victories than Joe Paterno. And if you're looking for a way to contribute yourself, the family has said in lieu of flowers, you can make a donation to the Special Olympics of Pennsylvania, or you can also donate to Thon. And Ashley Palutis has been here with us all day long as well, and she had a chance to be here at the statue earlier. It's been an emotional day all day here.
Yeah, Todd, we've been here since about 10 o'clock this morning, and multiple students, staff, alumni, and people who live here in State College have been stopping by to pay tribute to their beloved coach, Joe Paterno. Under the statue of former Penn State football coach Joe Paterno lies a makeshift memorial for a man that means so much to Happy Valley.
He means everything to me. He's more than half the reason I came here. He's taught me to be a better person. He's not just a football coach. He's an idol.
People here say they have a range of emotions, everything from grief to anger and frustration, with how the end of his career was handled.
You start with a man and had a lot of loyalty, a lot of respect, and a lot of people feel he was mistreated here at the end.
It's surreal that he was the big figure that he was, and stand-up guy, and then have it all come crumbling.
But many saying there is also a sense of hope for the future at Penn State University.
We'll just look to the past, look to the greatness that he brought us, and that'll get us through the future.
The community members here in State College, we're all fighters, and we're going to continue to fight and band together. And we are Penn State.
Now, thousands of students are expected to gather at Old Main tonight from about 8 o'clock to 11 for a candlelight vigil for Joe Paterno. In State College, Ashley Palutis for this special edition of Fox 43 News.
All right, thank you very much, Ashley. And it has been and continues to be an emotional time in State College. And, we've talked about the fact over the last 2 months, it's just been kind of an unbelievable scenario. Even if you didn't go to Penn State or if you're not from Pennsylvania, just the national spotlight on the man and what has happened has just been astounding.
That's for sure. Everyone talking about it as well.
And just to give you an idea of, I guess, crossing all boundaries, my wife this morning, she's not from Pennsylvania. She's from Maryland and New Jersey. She didn't go to Penn State, but when Joe Paterno passed away, she heard the news. She cried. So he crosses all kind of boundaries. He's just not just a coach. He's basically the Kennedys, I guess, of Pennsylvania. Yeah. He could be the greatest college football coach in the history of the game. And here's a look back at the life of the legendary Penn State head coach.
I'm not a guy for themes. I'm not a guy for goal setting. That's never been my style.
Joe Paterno kept it simple. His program's motto, success with honor. It reflected the attention he gave to the academic success of his players. He called his campaign to combine academics and athletics a grand experiment. His straightforward style may have something to do with his Great Depression upbringing. Joseph Vincent Paterno was born in Brooklyn in 1926. He said the cost of tuition almost forced him to drop out of prep school, but he went on to play football at Brown University and planned to attend law school, but instead took an opportunity to join his college coach Rip Engel at Penn State. 16 years later, Joe Pa took over.
A rousing clash with the Nittany Lions of Penn State, a battle of the unbeaten.
And within a couple of seasons, led his team to his first of 5 unbeaten seasons. In more than 4 decades as head coach, Joe Pa racked up a collection of trophies and records. He had more wins than any other coach in Division I college football, none more important than his 2 national championships in 1982 and 1986. He's the only coach to have won the Rose Bowl, Cotton Bowl, Sugar Bowl, and Orange Bowl. His first losing season didn't come until 1988, but win or lose, Paterno's attitude was the same.
We're going to work hard and try to be a really good football team this Saturday and play them as tough as we know how to play them.
He never let success get to his head. He turned down multiple offers to coach in the NFL, and he's lived in the same modest house for most of his career. Joe Paterno and his wife raised 5 children there. They've donated millions of dollars to the school and the community. A library on campus is named in Paterno's honor, and a statue outside Beaver Stadium preserves his image. An image fans of several generations came to adore.
We're number one in many, many things because we are Penn State. And we are Penn State. And you're Penn State. And God bless you. Thanks for coming out. And let's be number one, not only this year, but forever.
And some local Penn State players talking about their former coach on Twitter. As Todd mentioned, Graham Zug from Manheim Central. Joe Paterno is Penn State. Penn State is Joe Paterno. You will never be able to separate the two. And Chaz Powell from Susquehannock. Thank you, Coach, for making me the man I am today. R.I.P. to the greatest coach of all time. And I want to show you this quote at the Paterno statue outside Beaver Stadium. Joe Powell referring to himself, quote, "They asked me what I'd like written about me when I'm gone. I hope they write I made Penn State a better place. Not just that, I was a good football coach," unquote. So the guy has definitely made an impact on Penn State, Pennsylvania, football, non-football fans, you name it. He will be sadly missed.
All right. Thank you, Bill.
Yeah, and those words, pretty sure people are thinking of him in that way at this point.
That's true.
Yeah, okay, Thanks so much, Bill. And Penn State's new head football coach, Bill O'Brien, also sharing his condolences on the passing of Joe Paterno. He says, "Our families, our football program, our university, and all of college football have suffered a great loss, and we will be eternally grateful for Coach Paterno's immeasurable contributions." News of Joe Pa's death hitting local Penn State fans as well. It's a topic of conversation here at Tailgater Sports Bar in York Township, York County. Many in this crowd growing up Nittany Lions fans and some even attending Penn State University, and they are all saddened by this loss.
I'm very sad over it, of his passing. It was just a matter of time. I think that whole situation, what happened, did him in.
It was just sad that it had to happen this quickly, and at the same time, it wasn't even that much of it wasn't that much of a surprise, because when someone loses something that they love that much, it's not a surprise that his health went quicker.
It's a very sad thing given, you know, his cancer and health problems that he had. Such a long, wonderful career in Penn State football. To have something like that occur, you know, especially on the heels of being fired and never having the chance to have cleared that up.
Certainly people very upset about the loss. We have dozens of comments as well on our Fox 43 Facebook page, and we want to show you a few of those right now. Michelle writing, R.I.P. Rest in peace, Joe Pa. Your legacy will live forever. XOXO.
And Donna writes, how sad that we lost such a great man. The doctors said he had curable cancer. The only thing the doctors couldn't cure was his broken heart. What the Penn State Board of Trustees did to Joe was not right, and they all need to be replaced. R.I.P. Joe Pa. We love you. And the special edition of Fox 43 News, The Life of Joe Paterno, will continue in just a minute.
I don't know when I'm going to get out. People think I'm going to quit this year or next year. I haven't even thought of it. I, honest to goodness, have not thought of it. It hadn't. I don't see any reason to get out of it yet. I feel great. I don't know when I'll get out. I honestly don't know. And I haven't even thought about it yet.
That's December 28th, 2010. The media once again throwing out the question, Joe Pa, when will you step down? And at the time, everyone thought Joe Paterno would go on his own terms.
That's right. Instead, just 2 years later, the Penn State Board of Trustees fired the coach, and sudden and unexpected end to his long career. He was let go in connection to the way he allegedly handled the child abuse allegations by former defensive coordinator Jerry Sandusky back in 2002. Some believe Paterno should have done more when the behavior first came to his attention. Paterno directed Mike McQueary, a graduate student at that time who claimed to have seen the abuse, to talk to University President Graham Spanier. Upon learning of Paterno's firing, students gathered outside his home. They were upset by the outcome. And Paterno addressed them, and he expressed remorse.
The kids who were affected by this thing, and we're all praying for them. But, you know, it's nice to have everybody with the enthusiasm you have. And as I keep telling everybody, remember, we are Penn State.
We are.
Always Penn State.
Always Penn State.
The Attorney General's office has cleared Paterno of any criminal wrongdoing.
And Fox 43's Todd Sadowski continuing to gather reaction in State College today. He joins us live outside of Beaver Stadium with more on certainly the ripple effect and how people are reacting to the passing of the legendary Joe Paterno.
It has been a tumultuous couple of months for the students here on campus, and if you think a group of people from the ages of 17 to 23 can have a deep connection with someone that's 85 years old, couldn't be farther from the truth. We spoke to 3 local students who feel like they've lost a loved one.
Last night I gave my grandpa a call, who's an alumni and has had season tickets for over 30 years, so he really raised me in all the Joe Paterno era and coming up to football games as a little girl. And so talking to him just made it extra emotional, and just hearing his reactions really was hard for me.
Time, whether he passed away then or this morning, when it was exactly, I don't think that's what's as important, just that we're here as a community and that we can rally behind him and accept everything that he's done for our university to make it such a great place, and that we're all happy to be here.
When I woke up this morning and heard the initial reports, and then when it was confirmed by AP and the Paterno family, it's actually the first time I've really cried throughout this whole process. I mean, I've been emotional, but I actually had tears this time. It really hit me all of a sudden. It was kind of a big rush of emotion.
Alex has covered Joe Paterno and Penn State football for campus media. Many people may be surprised to hear that the news brought him to tears. So I asked him why the show of emotion.
Joe Paterno has just been that icon to look up to. I mean, not only did he make me fall in love with college football, he made me fall in love with Penn State, and he really made me fall in love with life itself. I mean, he just gave me that, inspiration to look for. I never met the guy, and that's a tribute to him. I didn't meet the guy, and he just represents so much for me and for Penn State.
Another guy certainly part of the Penn State family. An emotional day for him is John Whitman, former Eastern York and Penn State great. Texted me these words for Coach Paterno and his family. It's hard to put into words. I knew life after football would be short. I never thought it would be this short. He has touched the lives of so many people, those who played for him and those who haven't. It was all for the good. Personally, he has taught me to be honest with myself and others, hardworking through any environment, good or bad, and to be accountable for our actions. My family and I wish nothing but the best for the Paterno family family, Coach Paterno will always be in my heart and part of my life. And certainly that is the case for everyone that's coming out here tonight to his statue. Police is directing traffic just outside of Beaver Stadium. A lot of people still stopping by and taking a look. American flag has been put up on Joe Paterno's statue, also a scarf. So it's really an emotional day here in State College for the students and everyone that has a connection with Penn State. Let's go back to you guys in the studio.
All right, thank you, Todd. And people continuing to offer their comments and their thoughts about Joe Paterno on our Fox 43 Facebook page. Kathy writes, Joe, may you fly high over the other angels. They took away football, but he will always be an icon. We are Penn State. My heart goes out to his family.
And Carol writes, God rest his soul. He was an idol to many. His legacy will continue years to come. May God be there for the family and all of his fans. We'll be right back with more on Joe Paterno's life and legacy.
Tell me, what is an icon?
I think it means
if you mean some good-looking, handsome, yeah, I like it.
That Joe Pa in the summer of 2011 when he and Duke basketball coach Mike Krzyzewski sat down for an ESPN special. Joe Paterno has coached thousands of players over his career.
Yeah, Fox 43's Ashley Palutis live in State College tonight with more on what they have to say about their late coach.
Well, over the years, Fox 43 has had a chance to talk to hundreds of players, but no matter what we say to them or talk to them about, they always have nothing but good things to say about their coach. Now, they often speak about the values he's installed in them and how he got them to where they are today. They said he's much more than a football figurehead. He was more of a father figure to them.
That took us in when we were just teenagers. When we left there, we were grown men.
Of course we're worried about him, and he's the reason why we are the men that we are today. He instilled a lot of values in us to help us grow, not only as leaders, but as men. So, of course, he's on the back of our mind, but right now we want to do what he told us to do, and that's just focus on football.
Many of Paterno's players expressing their grief and giving their condolences all over both Facebook and Twitter today. A common theme between all of them was giving thanks for everything he had done for them in their lives. And again tonight at 8 o'clock, hundreds and thousands of students expected to show up at Old Main, giving their thanks to Joe Paterno. In State College, Ashley Palutis for the special edition of Fox 43 News.
Yeah, throughout the day, we can see and we've heard about folks showing up at the statue to pay their respects. We're also hearing from a number of you on our Fox 43 Facebook page as well about the passing of Joe Paterno. Melissa Wilson writes, a legend never dies. 50 years from now, when people talk Penn State football, I'm sure Joe Pa's name follows right behind, as it should.
And Robert writes, R.I.P. Joe, you will be missed. Thanks for the great years you have given to all of us. We'll cherish and enjoy. Thank you, and God bless your soul. We will be right back.
Kid from Brooklyn whose grandfather was an immigrant. To be something like this really means a lot to me, and an awful lot.
That was Joe Paterno after winning game 409 on his career back in October of 2011. Joe Paul was coaching from the press box. That was his last game at Beaver Stadium and his last game as Penn State head coach. Just 10 days ago, Paterno gave his first interview after being fired in November. These were his feelings about Penn State.
I've had a wonderful experience at Penn State. I don't want to walk away from this thing bitter.
Joe Pa spoke to the Washington Post on Thursday, January 12th. He was sitting in a wheelchair and wearing a wig due to chemotherapy treatments. And the passing of Joe Pa being felt across the country at the Penn State basketball game this afternoon. A moment of silence is held. Indiana head coach Tom Crean and Penn State head coach Pat Chambers with hands on their hearts.
The way people perceive the basketball program is obviously not the greatest. And what he did for us behind the scenes to allow us to compete on a high level and give us all the little things that people probably don't see. And maybe his name wasn't on it either. The guy has left a legacy that forever will be remembered.
So according to Pat Chambers, Joe Pa did a lot behind the scenes. Here at Fox 43, we are very lucky to cover Penn State football and to cover the career of Joe Paterno. Todd joins us again. Todd, a Joe Pa press conference, always a hoot.
Yeah, it's been really a fascinating 12 years for me covering Penn State football and Joe Paterno, and it's something, if you're a sportscaster, it's really a dream come true to see a college football coach work in this atmosphere. We've been outside and inside Beaver Stadium so many times to see great victories. I remember doing a live shot with a rose in my mouth after they just clinched a Rose Bowl berth, and a lot of celebrations. Of course, there's all kinds of people mourning the loss of Joe Paterno, but think about all the celebrations the man had and all those great moments in his life. He did have his family around him when he passed, so that's really, for someone who's lived such a blessed life, as he said so many times, all you can really ask for. It's going to be a fascinating week here in State College as far as the outpouring of support and what the arrangements are going to be. Those are pending. And really, for me personally, I think the most fun I've ever had really covering an event was the Orange Bowl with Bobby Bowden and Joe Paterno with Florida State and Penn State, and just such a differing style and personalities, and those guys are such close friends. So really, the press conferences leading up to that big game in Florida was just a thrill to cover. So a lot of great memories for me, and a lot of great memories certainly for Penn State football fans for Joe Paterno. We're going to be hearing about him all week long, Bill.
And Todd, you know, the funny thing with the press conference is we're always talking here about Twitter and Facebook and those things like that. Joe Pa was not internet savvy, I will say.
No, he was not techno savvy. And, you know, the funny thing is, even in his grumpiest moments, he was endearing. That, you know, how many times did we get thrown off the practice field during bowl games and things when he'd go, get those cameras out of here. And everybody would just kind of smile and go, that's Joe. And you'd exit and maybe try and get some video through the chain link fence or something. But, you know, a lot of great things about the way he treated his staff, about the way he treated his players. And there's just going to be a lot of great things said about the man all week long.
Thanks a lot, Todd. Again, Joe Paterno will be sadly missed. A lot of fun covering him at the press conferences. You would go in there. He'd be tough on the media, but also very friendly and joking, as Todd would say, you guys are worried about this. And every team that Penn State played was Notre Dame or Alabama or the toughest team in the country, no matter if it was Southwestern Missouri State. They were the #1 team in the country.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Bill.
Lots of memories.
Yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
Thanks so much, Bill. And thank you for joining us for this special look back at Joe Paterno's life. If you missed any part of this broadcast, you can catch it on our digital channels, Comcast 244 and Blue Ridge 125.
And we'll have a lot more coming up from State College tonight on Fox 43 News right after American Idol. We'll see you then. And until then, have a good evening.
Good night.